is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio. PHLV Radio.
Narito na ang kwentuhan tungkol sa bahay, negosyo at iba pa. Kasama ang inyong singing realtor, Jen Co.
Good evening, everybody. This is your Ate Jen Co on Thursday. And yes, live ako. Totoo. Natawa si Kuya Yo. After how many Jurassic days, may ganun no? Masyado pong busy. I'm so sorry. At medyo talagang busy po tayo at it's a blessing naman po kay Papa God kaya nag-reply po si Ate Jen. But that's why we are here. I'm here and later on we're gonna hear from our Kuya Brian of Dignified Home Loans. But for now, I would like to say happy birthday muna kay Mama Gracia Figues. She's here or probably she's back in California. She spent a couple of days here and I'm sorry I wasn't able to attend your dinner yet last night. My migraine attack after this morning. Masyadong mainit sa labas. So you guys, sunblock and everything. And please wear your mask. Unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, our Clark County or Nevada itself is number 1 right now with the Delta variant. So I hope my information is wrong, but that's what it seems like. So ingat po tayo. So anyway, let me update you guys with the market. My gosh, we really is short of houses, properties. I mean, I don't even have the exact numbers. Well, I do have some numbers right now, but let me give you guys an update. This June 2021, the number of units sold sa just June itself is 3,543. And that's about 11% growth from May and about 43.8% from last year. Can you imagine? Ganun kalaki ang tinaas ng ng benta natin from last June. And then the median price right now, sad to say a little bit for our locals, is about 395,000. And the average price per unit sold is 495,000. I mean, it's unbelievable. Who would think na, ganito kataas ngayon ang bahay? It's about 31%. From last year. And the median price is about 21% more from last year. And then what the condo, I mean, the median price is 216,000. Can you imagine? Before you can buy a condo for, for 140, 160, and now the median price is 216,000. That's 15% more from last year. So that's what's going on with the market right now. The interest rate is a little bit up. It's still going up, but Kuya Brian is going to tell us about that. Let me tell you guys a little bit more of the market right now. I mean, yeah, okay. So let's see. For the condo and townhouse, there's 943 units that was sold. And then the median, like I said, is about 215, 216. And that's the price right now and the number of units that was sold. Sabihin ko sa inyo, no? The one in North Las Vegas, the median price right now is around 300,000, mid 300,000 already in North Las Vegas. The east side, it's about 300,000, and then the south side is around 350, 360. The northwest right now is going on for 400,000 for the median price, and the southwest we see about 450 450,000, and Henderson, it's about 5.25. So I mean, the houses are going up and up, and we don't even have enough houses right now in the area. Believe it or not, I have a lot of clients that are waiting. Even in Boulder City, the median price is 430,000. In Mesquite, the median price is 400,000. Mount Charleston area, 580,000 median price. Let me see. Laughlin is around 325,000, and then Pahrump is about, oh my gosh, it's going up, 335,000. I want to see Reno because I know there's a lot of people who are. I cannot find Reno here, but anyway, what you call this? So, yeah, Pahrump is going up. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Anyway, Kuya Brian, hello, good evening. So, please, magkwentuhan tayo regarding the interest rate. Ano na ang nangyayari ngayon?
Oh, yes, yeah. Hello. And good afternoon or good evening to everyone. Yeah, yung market, it's really hot. It's even hotter than our temperature here in Vegas. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. I mean, we're about like 115 outside. It's just too hot. And then, with the housing, it's probably like at 150 or more, actually. But anyways, yeah, so I mean, it's good and bad on our end here. But, the house, good for homeowners and sellers, that the prices are up, but unfortunate for our buyers, that the prices are high too. But because of our good economy here, that's finally picking up, all new casinos opening and other businesses opening, it really helps our industry here. Kaya maraming lumilipat at bumibili, for still, compared to their states like California, Hawaii, or any high cost states, it's still pretty affordable here compared to those. So that's why they're moving out here. And then being able to work remotely, it's another factor why we have so many buyers. As far as interest rate though, it's still pretty good. I mean, it's still in the low threes so far. So that's why it's still, very attractable to buy, and that's what's causing our market here to have a lot more buyers than what our inventory is actually at. So that's why. The only setback also, they kind of raise up more interest rates on the second homes and investment properties.
What is the interest rate now for the second home?
It all depends on credit, down payment, and all that. Of course, the higher the credit scores, the best, But nowadays, those second homes and investment property loans, those are the ones that really jumped up a little bit than compared to what it was before.
So
the reason. Go ahead.
What are we looking at right now?
I would say on the second homes are in the mid to high threes, almost 4% probably. And then the investments are in the fours, like I said, depending on credit, down payments, and all that. But they are, especially the second home. Before, it wasn't that much difference on the primary, but now it is a big difference because Fannie and Freddie, who buys these conventional loans, they are trying to steer out of it to where they don't want more exposure on those types of ownership or like properties. We're using it as second and investment homes because of what happened, with the market, with the COVID and issues like that. So they are a little bit, it's still available, of course. It's never going to go away. It's just that they want to, it's a higher risk for them, for the banks. So that's why they're raising up, the pricing or interest rates on those.
Wow. So is it harder to get a loan now or it's pretty much the same?
It is. So here's the situation. It is at some point it is a little bit harder, but not too much though. What affects the qualification now is people that lose hours or lose time on their work last year, and they're not on a salary or stable hours, especially in our industry here in Las Vegas, where the casino workers were, sometimes they work 40 hours a week, sometimes 30 hours a week, like changing hours, to where what happened is even if there was the shutdown for 3 months last year, or whatever, how long, the business was closed, we still have to average out the income from the whole year, for the whole year. So what that means, though, even though you only work like 9 months of that last year, we calculate it as if you work for 12 months or the whole year. So what happened is your average income goes down because of that. So that's the only, it's a standardized calculation on income, with people who has their income that are, not consistent, or, changes every week or every month or something like that. That's normally is how we calculate their income, and it is getting affected because of that, lower income from last year. And of course, they're receiving unemployment, but we can't count that as an income, so we have to exclude that out of their income.
Okay. Are you seeing more locals or more investors coming in?
It's really more out-of-state buyers.
That's
Not
what-
so much investors as in buying as an investment property. It's really more out-of-state buyers trying to move over here or buying a second home. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, because we have more, Resorts World is open already, and more jobs are coming in. The Spear is, is pretty much on their way too. And so a lot of people, we're 100% open, which is nice and a little scary at the same time. So people are moving over here. I know most of my buyers, well, our buyers, are from California. We just had two pre-approvals today, so both from California. So yeah, it's kind of hard. It's nice that we're booming and we're open again for our economy. But the sad part about that is, our locals, our Nevadans that are here trying to buy. It's harder and harder for them to get the house they want, because it's starting. It's a bidding war.
Yeah, it is. It's harder. A lot of them are all priced out now. They've been looking for a home since last year, and now it's like they are priced out of the market because everything went up 50 to 100,000 now compared to what it was last year, and it is. It's a bidding war. I mean, multiple offers everywhere. One property has 30, 40 offers already, so you kind of have to be prepared to put more than what they're asking for and have that cash available, because it's otherwise, it's really hard to get a property.
Yeah, I have one listing a month ago that was sold 45,000 over the appraisal, and I was shocked. I'm not, it's not a newer house. It's an older home. It was not renovated. I was really surprised. And the buyer is actually from California again. They're moving over here, and they bought. So, and a lot of cash buyers. I got cash buyers that are getting outbid with 20, 25, 30,000 over the list price. So it's crazy, with no contingency, no appraisal contingency, and no inspection contingency. It's ridiculous, crazy, But again, like you said, the interest rate is still good compared to like 3-4 years ago. That's why a lot of people are still refinancing. And we've got, clients before that we have on the pipeline, that's being refied right now. They're doing the refi right now. So, where do you see the market going in the next month or so?
It's still gonna stay this way, the way it is. It's just the demand is very high right now, because of, like I said, the majority really is the cost is the people from out of state buying, trying to buy here. So I would think at least for the rest of the year is this is how the market's gonna be. Maybe it will look towards next year as well. It all depends on how how lending goes and interest rate goes as well. I mean, the way it is right now, it's probably going to stay the same. I don't think of it as going up anytime soon. But next year could be different. I mean, we don't know. But for me personally, I would say at least for the rest of this year, we're still gonna be in this market the way the way everything is right now.
So you think up to the end of this year, it's still going to be the same?
Yeah, the way I mean, unless really because of the demand, unless that demand lessen, like people from out of state buying homes here. I mean, with still COVID out there, I mean, pretty much other states are pretty much open too, but we still COVID out there, and for them to work from home, it's still attractive. Our city is still attractive, especially for Californians to move here because of the cost of living. Even though, yeah, home prices goes up. I mean, but as far as if they're still getting that same salary in California but working from here and have a house here and having expenses here, it's still a win-win for them. That's why. Because homes in let's just say California is pretty much double the price of what they have here. So that's why it's still very attractable for out-of-state buyers.
And do you know, because I know you also write loans from California, the property tax went up already, correct? Or not yet? They just approve it, but they haven't been implemented.
Yeah, they do. It's still, I mean, it hasn't been effective yet, but I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be effective. But yeah, it is. I mean, some counties are, I think, already have raised theirs. But it is. So it's just really, very unattractable for homes owners or people living there because of the cost of living is just too high.
Yeah, most of our clients right now is actually from California. I mean, we have quite a bit of cash buyers and stuff. So let me just say hello to some of our listening. My Papa Benko is watching. He said, "Be safe." He's in California, in Philippines. So pa, you be careful, please. Huwag ka muna lumabas, okay? Please. We're trying to go back home, but I mean, it's kind of hard right now. The quarantine, and it's so expensive to go home because of per night, sa hotel. And, and then hello to Adele Ordinario. Good evening, Ate Jen, sabi niya. He's watching from Chicago on vacation. Have fun, Adele. Okay, and then hi Tere, and Zoe, my pamangkin, and, and to everybody who's listening, I just have to scroll later on. But James, one of our members, who's soon to be a lender. Ayan, mag-a-apply daw sa'yo, Brian. ng job, ha? Mga anak ni asawa nito. Kawawa naman, kailangan trabaho. Oo. So anyway, well, he's gonna be in Northern California anyway. So, paalalayan na lang. Kawawan may bata. Diyos ko. Anyway. So yeah, that's our market right now. I mean, we have what? We're actually blessed that we got quite a bit of clients right now. I got about 10 in the pipeline, what you call this? Oh yeah, nag-hello na si James. Sabi, hello ate and kuya. Ayan, sabi ni James. Sabi ko kasi mag-on ka eh. Sabi ko, ipupunta kita. Nasa record. Sabi mo, oo, ikaw kasi manager eh. So, yan. Kaso, James, you have to pass your license right away, okay?
Yeah.
Galingan mo. I have faith in you. Alam ko kaya mo yan. So, anyway, yeah. So, a lot of people right now, I'm having problems. I mean, even though they're cash buyers. I mean, it's crazy. Umaabot na rin ng parang California na 30, 40, 50, 60,000 over the list price or over the appraisal.
Yeah. And all it is so, I mean, that's why we're in this market right now, because it's a domino effect. There's not a lot of sellers too, because they don't want to move. They don't know where to move. If they move, they have to buy as well, a higher price as well. So it's really hard. Same thing with the builders too, because, the materials now, building materials are more expensive. At the same time, too, it's delayed to where now it's taking them 6 to 8 months to build the house.
Are you kidding me? No. Yung isa ko, it's supposed to close July.
Mhm.
And ngayon, haligi pa lang. Because
Yeah,
they don't
see,
offer.
it is. Average is average is about taking 8 months. That's why, because they can't get materials. It's like everything is backed up.
April yun eh. April,
Mhm.
May. Ay, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's supposed to get delivered, this July, and buti na lang may
Yeah, it is, and then the short of labor as well, because some other people are, some others are not really working as much, because they're still getting unemployment. I mean, it's all an effect of what happened last year. That's why. I mean, that's.
Well, and then the extension till end of July,
Mhm.
the COVID. So it's hindi naman natin nung pinipray na matapos na yung assistance na yon, that you don't have to pay mortgage or your rent.
Yeah.
But we're kind of like we're kind of like waiting, because we know there's a lot of houses that are for foreclosure if they don't pay back the one they owe,
Yeah.
since March last year. A lot of people had this mentality, or they think na, pag natapos na yung pandemic at nilift na yung moratorium, na okay lang ilalagay sa huli ang utang nila. It's not for everybody. I mean, it depends on the lender, correct?
Yeah,
Hindi
it is. It's
automatic
not
yun.
exactly. Yeah, it's not for everybody, but with the government assistance, stepping in all the time with the housing market. I mean, more chances are they're gonna work out a plan for these people that didn't make a payment. I mean, of course, definitely, if they weren't working or income is low, of course, those instantly that they'll get extended or they'll approve it or whatever the modification. So a lot of them is gonna be pretty much gonna go to like a modification plan, to where it might take a while before they actually foreclose on it. I mean, but it all depends on the bank too as well. If they think that the market is really high to where foreclosing it right away is better off for them, so they can sell it.
It is.
It could happen that way too. So it's very, like I said, it's very unknown what will it be. But you're
Yeah.
right. It's those ones, those people that are paying mortgages. I mean, comes if they foreclose on them, and that could be additional in the inventory, which is could be good.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of them, I know a lot of them that took advantage of the assistance, and I don't blame them. But at the same time, most of them didn't understand that, it depends on their lender. It depends. It could be better for them, and they just attach it at the end of their loan, or some of them will require to slowly pay back, on top of the regular mortgage once it's open up. Or I heard that some of them might even ask for it right away if they want to foreclose your house, because they need to sell it. They'll be able to sell it more now, and
Mhm.
and then even the builders right now, they're having lottery. They're having a bidding war on the lot. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and then even the lot premiums have raised up too.
Yeah, 20,
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, 20,000 just for the lot. Yeah.
The usual 5, 10, 15,000
Mhm.
now double, and
Yeah.
even on a bidding war or a lottery.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It is really crazy. I mean, I understand California. It's been happening before, but here in Las Vegas, I mean, like I said, I was in shock that
Yeah,
you know,
it happened like in 2005 and 6, but this one is like really it's worse than that. it's even higher than that. Yeah. Yeah.
it's even higher than that, huh? Let's recap on because we like I said, we have quite a bit of clients right now that it's their first time, or it's their second home year. So basically, they kind of forgot already, what's the process of getting a loan or buying a house. So we want to recap. We want to give the process to some of our listeners who are wondering what is the process on buying a home. One, of course, we suggest that you get, if you're a buyer, suggest that you get a realtor, because you're not going to be paying for the commission. It's always the seller that is paying for the commission for when you're buying a house. Second, make sure that you already have a pre-approval. We wanted a pre-approval, or that's that's the better, it's better for the process if you're buying, because when it's pre-approval, Kuya Brian, tell them the difference with the pre-approval and pre-qual.
Oh, the difference on the pre-approval and
Yeah.
pre-qual. I mean, pre-qual is just really based on your information. Like verbal information or whatever it is. Okay, seems like okay, that's your income. This is your debts. I mean, you're qualified for this much. For this much of a house or whatever based on down payment. Pre-approval is really to more thorough, to where we run the credit, verify the income. So they're more accurate to where it's more what do you call this?
Solid.
Yeah, it's more solid, especially when the seller sees it, when you make the offer and everything. I mean, think of it. I mean, for buyers, I mean, definitely you do need a pre-approval first before looking at homes, because like I say, you don't want to waste your time looking at something you can't afford or you can't qualify on. So think of it as like your ticket to look at the house. That's you need a pre-approval as your ticket to go look, and make offers and everything. So.
Yeah, because basically when you say pre-approval or pre-qualification, let's clarify that again. When you said that you have a pre-qual, meaning that the lender probably talked to you and asked you how much you make, how long have you been at work, the minor stuff. And it's all what you give, the information that you tell the lender. With that being said, there's a lot of factors that you got to look into. Yes, you're making, for example, 10,000 a month, but how much debt to income ratio do you have? Because that every one of them takes into consideration your credit card bills, your car payment, if you have a student loan, anything that is in your credit, it factors in on how much you're approved to buy a house. And then third, then we got, once we have the pre-approval, then of course we're going to ask you your preference, the area, and then how many bedrooms, and so on and so forth, the needs. And of course, as realtor, we usually ask you first, what's your needs? And if we can, of course, we're going to give you what you want, depending on, the price point. So, and then after that, once we found the house for you, then we're going to start the process of opening escrow. Opening escrow meaning is we have an agreement between the seller and the buyer that, we got into a contract, we agreed on the price, and then we put everything, the contract, we send it to the escrow, the title company, and to the lender so they can start processing it. After we do the process and we do the, the opening of escrow, we're going to, we have to deposit the earnest money deposit saying that, yes, I'm buying this house in good faith that I'm really going to get this house. So I'm giving you whatever EMD is requested based on the MLS, usually around 1% of the price of the house. And then at the same time, the lender will start the process of gathering, completing all the paperwork requirements, meaning the W-2s, tax return. Kuya Brian, everything is like, the requirements that we need is the tax return.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
typical requirements on getting pre-approved, or even for the loan on a mortgage, is really if you work as a W-2 income earner, pay stubs, of course, latest pay stubs, usually latest 1 month of work of pay stubs, so that consists of 2 or 4 W-2s, from the past 2 years, so currently right now 2020 and 2019. Same thing with the tax returns, the 2 years. Sometimes we need it, sometimes we don't really need those, but at least get those prepared. And then of course, your bank statements, at least the most current 2 months. Those are the typical, simple requirements in the beginning, just to find out what your qualifications are. And if you're self-employed, I mean, those are a little bit more, paperwork. Of course, that one is automatic, the 2 years tax returns as well. business and personal. And then the bank statements, for personal and business as well. And then the only catch on that is a P&L. If you're self-employed, they would need a profit and loss statement for the year to date. Like for example, this year, until June, January to June, and those ones. And here's the catch: and it's typically before the P&L doesn't really matter, or the profit and loss doesn't really have a significant effect on getting your loan approved. Now it does, to where they want to make sure that your business is still making money or whatever it is, and then we have to match that with your business bank statement, to where if your profit and loss is showing that that's coming in, let's just say 10,000 a month, so your bank statement has to support that as well, that there's coming in for about the same amount, or at least close to it. Because otherwise, then they'll, if it's not really showing, then that's when it could be an issue as far as on the business income. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, that's the paperwork that typically being requested once, we're starting. Well, actually, most of the time we already give that to the lender so that it's ready to go once we found the house. And then after that, what we'll do is within the 3 days, we're going to go ahead and request an inspection, so that, an outside inspector is going to go in and make sure that everything is working, heating, cooling, if it's, if there's any leaks, or hopefully not, if there's a pool and things like that. So after that, after we receive the inspection report, then we will be reviewing it. I will be reviewing it, and I'll be telling it to the buyer and see what needs to be addressed. Needs to be fixed. We have to put in mind, if we're buying a resale house, there's no law or rules that we have to fix anything. That's the misconception of a lot of buyers, that, oh, the report says that it's, missing this, or there's a leak here and there. Typically, if a seller agrees to the repair, especially if it's the major one, like there's just a leak, or there's an electrical issue, or things like that, anything that will be a safety issue or living condition issue, if it's a major one, most of the time it is being fixed. Or sometimes, they give a contribution monetary wise, so that, to the buyer is the one who's just going to get it fixed after they close. So it depends on the agreement. And then after that, of course, around what time do we request for the appraisal, Kuya Brian?
Appraisal normally is done in the beginning. Once you get the contract. I mean, it could either be done after home inspection if you want to, or before that. It all depends on if we're closing, if we have time or not for that. Usually, yeah, I would like to have them ordered after inspection. In that way, if there's any issues with the property, the buyers doesn't lose their money on that appraisal, because once we order that, it has to be paid for, because it's a third party person that does that. So that's the thing. But typically, and then when the appraiser is ordered, it normally takes about a week and a half, about 10 days to complete. So that's why, depending on the timelines of when you need to close, then that's kind of like the determination if we have to order it right away, or we can wait a little bit, So, but yeah, that's in the beginning process, because that's part of the loan as well that we determine. And then as far as repairs on the property, it is not required, but sometimes if an appraiser sees it, where there's a safety or hazard issue, or anything on the property that could affect the marketability of it, it could be a condition to repair before getting the loan. So there's instances that could happen. So that's why now it's kind of like going back if the seller's willing to fix it or not, but it could affect that getting the loan. So that's why anything that's safety hazard, those are number one, that it has to be repaired regardless. So anything like that, could pop up too.
Yep, exactly. Because I know that there's one time, I think that especially on the VA loan, they're very strict on the VA loan. I remember we had some VA clients that they have, even the outside foyer, the railings, remember? That
Yeah,
they
yeah,
would,
that because it looks like, it's chipping the paint and all that, it's rotting. So it's outside, like I said, those ones are like the marketability of the house. That's why it needs to be fixed, because at the same time too, it could be a safety issue, because if it rots and breaks down, then that could hurt somebody. But the biggest piece on those outside were, it might be just cosmetic, but then again, because it's the paint is chipping off or peeling, they want to make sure that it is, it's fixed, because of that marketability issue, to where later on, if something happened, value of the property could go down, or whatever it is, the condition. So
yeah. And then so after everything, after they got appraised, and then the price is okay, which is now it's going crazy with that appraisal, because usually the typical market that we have usually is if the house is listed at 400,000 per se, and it got appraised at 390. Most of the time, they are willing to go down on the price of the house, because it was not appraised for 400, but was appraised for 390. There's a $10,000 difference on that one, and if it's a loan, then the outside the appraised the value, the buyer has to come up the difference in cash, or else it's not going to go through, because the value of the house is only 390. So right now, what we're looking at and what we're experiencing is the seller don't care. I said, either you buy it or you don't. I don't care. I can wait. I know, I'm pretty sure that they know that because of the shortage of the house, somebody is willing to pay more on the house, whether it's appraised or not. Like I said, I mean, one of the house that I sold, was sold at 45,000 over. So, and that is a finance house. It's not even it was a finance, so it's not even cash. I would understand if it's cash. So even though it's finance, they put up the 45,000 difference. I mean, it's crazy. So after, if everything goes well and things like that, then we go ahead and do the walkthrough. After the walkthrough, we're gonna do the signing, and then after the signing, usually if it's funded in the morning, we can record it in the evening. So usually a typical 30 to 45 days, contract or waiting period to be, from beginning to the end. And sometimes if it's cash, anywhere from 10 days to 15 days, for the closing. So again, there's a lot of things that are happening too. There's a rent back that they call, meaning if the seller is, for example, I have one contract right now that it's closing on Monday, but the seller's house is not yet ready until the end of the month, then they did the rent back on that one. So that's a different, type of contract to outside, the residential purchase agreement when you're buying a house. So that's the typical, procedure when you're buying a house. And like I said, it is better that you have a realtor to talk to, because they're your protection. You don't have to pay for them. You don't have to pay for the commission, because the seller pays for the commission of the buyer. And then if you're listing, yes, there's a lot of people who are doing it for sale by owner. Sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't. So again, we're getting paid for a reason. We are licensed for a reason. And you can always negotiate and everything like that. So we just suggest that. Let me just say hello to Ate Sonia, who's listening from Guam, and Ate Flora is listening. Ate Ivy, Yolanda is listening. Thank you so much. Stay blessed, Ate Jen. Thank you po, Ate Ivy. Miss you. So, yeah. So that's the procedure right now. That's what we call the procedure when you're buying a house, and the requirements according to Kuya Brian and everything. So how about, because of the market being crazy, do we still have the no down payment? The teacher, the assistance for the down payment for the teachers, or any programs out there? Is it still happening?
Yeah, well, it is. It is. I mean, they're all still available, down payment assistance. But of course, it's not as attractive to the sellers nowadays
Yeah.
because if they are getting down payment assistance, so they kind of get deferred to, or if they even have money to put up, because that everything is above list price or above appraisal value too. So, but the programs are still out there available. The teacher program, down payment assistance. It is still available for anybody to use who's qualified. So yes, it's out there. But like I said, I mean, making an offer using down payment assistance versus to somebody who's not, it is going to be hard to get that offer accepted. So
Yeah, it is hard because right now, before we even try to make an offer, we have to call, the agent, because by the time if the listing showed up today, more likely the whole day the appointment is already all booked, and by the evening when you call the listing agent, there's already 5 to 7 offers, and they're all gonna tell you submit your highest best. They're gonna make a decision tomorrow. And I was like, oh my gosh! I mean, it just came up today. The listing just came up on the MLS and everything. It is crazy out there.
it is. It's like hotcakes.
Yeah, well, it's good in a way, but it's good for the listing agents because for sure it's gonna get sold. For buyer's agent, it's more difficult and it's more heartbreaking for our locals, since, like I said, it's more than the value of the house, and depending on their income, if they're still going to qualify, or if they have extra money, to put up, to put out, to get the house that they want, so. Yep, that's our market update right now. And let me ask you, Kuya Brian, is there still a culinary assistance? I mean, the down payment?
Yes, yeah, it's still available too. So
How
that
does it
thing.
work? Because a lot of there are a lot of misconception on the culinary down payment assistance. Do you have to pay for it? What are the
It is. It's kind of like a loan. It's a loan with no interest. Pretty much, they give up to 20,000. It all depends, but the culinary too has its setbacks to where, okay, first of all, you do have to pay back regardless. After you sell the house, or because it's a lien on the property that will stay there.
Oh,
Yeah. So you still have to pay it back. I mean, regardless what it is, and the other piece of it is depending on the loan program that you're going to use. Like, for example, if it's a government or FHA loan, you still have to put the 3.5, and you have to add, and then you could use it for closing costs or lower down the principal. The conventional loan, you still have to put your own 1% down. So it still requires some money from the borrower as well. It's not something where you could just use that and get a house for nothing out of pocket. So. Yeah, that's for the culinary. Yeah,
that's for the culinary. So basically, it's just to assist you for the down payment, but it's actually a loan. So it's
it's still a loan. It's like a no interest loan. Exactly. It's still and then for those who wants to get really more information, because typically they do have to go to their culinary union anyway to because they would have to go to them first to see if they're qualified and how much they could give them. And then they'll tell them all that, what about how that works and all that. Because they go through them first before they go to us, as a lender. And they'll tell them what the requirements are and all that. So
I see. How about for the teachers program? Is that something that they have to pay back or no?
that one they don't. Yeah. So that one is free up to 5 years. Like, after 5 years, then the money that they get is pretty much forgiven. But the teachers program is for Clark County full-time teachers only. So that's the only thing. If you work for a private school or outside of Clark County, that it doesn't qualify for that. But that one is a good because it's a very very low interest rate, and then like I said, the money that they give you up to 7,500, they will put a lien on the house first. It's kind of like what they call a silent second. It's still a lien in there, but then after your 5 years, it will be forgiven. Like it goes away, so you don't have to pay it back.
Okay. There's also misconception of first-time home buyer. They thought that first-time home buyer is basically your first time to buy a house, that you never own a house ever in your life. And so can you explain to our listeners what's the first-time home buyer and the requirements, if you have to pay for it or whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, the first-time home buyer means is like technically on the mortgage side is like you haven't owned a home for the past 3 years.
So 3
3 years, yeah. So that's what really typically what we consider the first-time home buyer. Being a first-time buyer versus to somebody who's not is really doesn't make a difference unless they're using a first-time buyer program, kind of like those down payment assistance and everything else. So there are programs out there that requires to be a first-time buyer, which is somebody that hasn't owned a home for the past 3 years. But like I said, there's no really difference as far if it's just a regular loan, whether you're a first-time buyer or not. I mean, it's treated the same way regardless.
And you don't have to pay for it.
Which one?
You don't have to pay back.
Oh, are you referring for the down payment assistance? Yes. So the other one, yeah, you don't have to pay back. Typically, that Home is Possible program, what they call it here in Clark County, that one, yeah, you keep it for only 3 years. They'll give you the money for down payment, but I mean, as long as you keep the home for 3 years or the loan, I mean, for 3 years, after the third year, you don't have to pay it back.
Okay. How about the interest rate on that one? Anytime that you get a down payment assistance or free money, how much difference is that on the impact on the interest?
The interest rate is at least 1% or more. It all depends. So, I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, if you're using that down payment assistance, of course, you're not going to get the market rate on a regular, conventional, or government loan. Their programs is a set rate for them to where typically right now it's about a 1% to 1.5% higher than what the regular programs are or regular rates are. So it is. I mean, it is good to have it, but technically you're still paying it one way or another. I mean,
well, let me put it this way. Let me ask you: is it worth it to get a down payment assistance?
It depends. It really depends to where. I mean, if you really don't have the money to buy the house or to get the house, I mean, you don't have enough, then you kind of have no choice but to use that program, But if you do have the money, it's better to use yours because you get a lower interest rate. You don't have to worry about that lockdown for 3 years on that loan because even if you refinance it, you still have to pay it back again. You sell or refinance. Once you change that loan, you have to pay back that assistance that they gave you.
Let's clarify that. So, let's say I got a down payment assistance, free down payment right now. So within 1 year, I want to refi it, then I could, but I have to pay whatever they gave me is free, or else I have to wait after the third year.
Yeah.
That I can refi it without any penalty or without
any penalties. Exactly. So like I said, that's why they're getting it back one way or another for that amount, based on the interest rate. So that's how they get it back is really from the interest rate.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why it's not. I mean, it is good, but then again, if you could put your own down payment, then it's a much better to do that because you get that low interest rate now. And you don't have to worry about it, refinancing it again. Because even if you get that program right now, let's just say it's at 5%. I mean, typically right now it is at 5% on that program. I mean, 3 years from now you could refi, but by that time the rates might be at 5% as well. So it's not going to benefit you anything, So you lose out on the low interest rates now. So that's why, I mean, if you have your own money to buy the home, you might as well do that because you take advantage of this low interest rate, because we don't know 3 years from now what it's going to be. It could be higher than 5, so there's no
Oh,
benefit for you to refi. And yeah,
yeah, we hit 5% like what, 2014, 15? I think that's
yeah,
it.
it was back then. Yeah, it was like that. So
It was like that. I hope it doesn't go up like the early 90s. That is like 9% and 30.
no, it wouldn't go on this market. They wouldn't do it that fast. I mean, if it goes up, it'll probably go slowly. So by the time we reach 5%, it might take a while. It might be another 2 to 3 years. It all depends
Oh,
on how
awesome.
everything is. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Kuya Brian, you got to remember, okay? It's being recorded, the PHLV radio. So you better guarantee. You said it's not gonna go up for the next 2 years at least, up to 5%. So
No, I
that's
mean at least this year, next year will. I mean, not go up to 5% because we're in the threes right now. Before that happens, it'll take a while. I mean, unless something really good happens in our economy, then they will really push that up. But so far, we're still in the building mode and recovering stage. I mean, it is getting better, but it's still not there to where that they need to be at. I mean, the debt to the U.S. debt is like trillions of dollars. I mean, it's still not up to speed to where and who knows, by that time we might be another president again, and you never know what happens. So
okay.
because of the 4-year term, because
Oh
remember
my
he only has a 4-year term, so we don't know.
Yep. How many years na ba? Parang gusto nang magmadali ng mga tao ah. I'm sorry.
Well, he's going in the 2nd year now, so he got 2 more years. So after this.
Okay, we actually have a listener that has a question. How easy or hard it is to rent a property in Las Vegas, supposing you sell your house and wait to buy? Is the rental market hot too? That is from Annie from Summerlin. And I would just say yes. It's also hot, and at the same time, it is harder to qualify right now for the rental. For the reason being, a lot of people took what you call this? How am I gonna say it? Practice that you don't have to pay for your rent. So a lot of people are not paying rent right now. Unfortunate to the investors or the owner of the house or the property. So with that being said, the qualification right now is sometimes you have to show 3 times. You're making 3 times of what the rent is. Credit score, I've seen it that they require 700 plus, to rent a house or an apartment, which is crazy. Because if you have a $700 credit score and you're making 3 times of the rental, you can actually buy a house. Don't you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why are you gonna rent? But unfortunately, that's the case right now because they want to make sure that it's more solid renters right now because of that. So if you sold your house and sometimes they also ask for so much deposit and advance payment. So if you just sold your house, apparently it's not going to be that much problem for you. And hopefully, if there's a little problem with the credit, that you're going to start, pay, your debt so that your credit will go up. But it is hot. It is hot, and it's crazy. It's the same thing. A lot of the property management are collecting applications and trying to see which one best fit their the seller or the investors want, because they want to make sure that they get the rent, because a lot of renters right now, whether it's a house or an apartment, are still not paying the rent, unfortunately. So that's one of the reasons why the market is hot. The 3-bedroom apartment right now or a house can go up to, they used to be like 1,200, 1,300. Now I see up to 1,700, 1,800 for a 3-bedroom, house. So it it gone up too. So it is. I suggest that you find a house first or a rental. If you know it, once you get into a contract, I would suggest to start putting in your application, or even start, considering talking to the leasing agents already, or tell your agent to look for a rental for you right away, because it's very hard. I mean, you're gonna be stuck with no house after you sold your house. And then for those people who's trying to move here, and because I got one client that wanted to buy a house, but what she did is she quit her job without job here, before she moved here, and she thought that she wasn't able to qualify because it's a different job, and at the same time, the job that she got here is not full time yet, so she wasn't able to qualify for a house. So make sure that you have a full time steady job, or at least get qualified for, or buy a house. If you have money for the down payment, buy a house here before you move and before you get your your job, so that so you can get into your house right now. So yeah, there's a lot of changes. There's a lot of what you call this qualification that went crazy to be able to rent a house, even buy a house. Because of the market, it's the supply and demand of, that's always the case. So, and like I said, if you have a realtor, go ahead. If you don't have a realtor, please go grab one. I mean, there's plenty of realtors. You can search it at the LBR, which is Las Vegas Realtor Association. So, look at their profile and everything, and, just hire them to protect you. Because right now it's really, really crucial to have a realtor represent you, especially on the builder side. I'm sorry, but that's the case. A lot of the contracts with the builder are falling off because one, the build time is is going longer and longer, 8 to 10 months before you can even supposedly you can move into your new house. But the problem is, if you don't have a steady job or you got laid off between that time frame, then you lose whatever money you deposited. And, a lot of people doesn't read that fine print on the contract, and they lose that. And, they don't have a job, and they don't have a house, they don't have money. The money that they save for the house is even gone. So it's very important for you to go ahead and, hire a realtor and talk to several of them. You don't have to sign a contract right away. Just go ahead and, talk to each one of them and see who fits you, who suits you and everything, So with that being said, na-miss ko to na being live. Laging replay. Kawawa si Kuya yun. Hindi ko nga alam na kung ano yung nare-replay niya. So anyway, so Kuya Brian, is there anything that you want to say to our listeners, since we're almost done here?
I know. So I mean, I know. So we just gave them, a pretty much overview of how everything is in the market here in Las Vegas, and pretty much Clark County. I mean, if whether you're a seller or a buyer, I mean, of course, as a seller, that's really good, because you can sell your house at a good price right now, a very high price, and you don't have to wait as long. And then for a buyer, I mean, even with these prices, I think it's still a good investment, because first of all, the rates are low, so that's a plus. And then if this is something long term, rather than renting, because rents are high as well, I mean, it's still better to buy. I mean, yeah, it is. The prices are high. I mean, but don't think of it as what happened in 2007 or 8, where the market crashed, because it's never going to happen again. Not never, but most likely it's not going to happen again. The way everything is. So it is. And my advice, really, if you're a seller, of course, I mean, you're a win-win right now. A buyer, it still is, because don't get discouraged to say, oh, it's too high that I don't want to buy anymore. I'd rather just rent. It's not, because with the rent being high as well, getting a house 3-bedroom, you're paying almost $2,000. I mean, that's kind of like your mortgage right there. So you're still, so it's still a win-win to you just buy even with this market right now. So
Yep.
I mean, that's really all my advice. I mean, that's the way it is. So don't get discouraged if you're a buyer, if you're not a home, if you're not a homeowner, or even upgrading. It's still good, because like I said, you could sell for a high price,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
maybe yeah. I mean, you get plenty of equity to put on another house down for something that you really like. So either way, I mean, it's still better to either way, whether seller or buyer, it's still a win-win situation for everyone. Because for buyers, if it is a long-term investment, I mean, eventually you'll gain equity as well, and you get the tax benefit, and then rather than just renting. So.
And of course, Kuya Brian, tell their listeners your information on how they can get a hold of you. Wala pong bayad, just call Kuya Brian. He
Yeah,
can answer
exactly.
your question.
Yeah. If you have any questions or just getting some advice, getting a financial review, if you could want to see if you could afford or how much you could qualify for, anything like that, refinancing. If you have a mortgage right now, you want to lower down payments or take cash out, I mean, feel free to give me a call. My phone number is 702-327-0101. Once again, that's 702-327-0101. And I'll be glad to help you, give you some advice, what if it's a good time, to do something, or not, or something with credit too as well, how to fix it, if there's any issues. So anything related to home mortgage, I mean, please call me. I'll be glad to help.
Yes, and hi Hazel, he said thumbs up. Anyway, yes, this is your Ate Jen ko for Bahay Negosyo Iba Pa. Thank you so much for tuning in, listening, and supporting all our shows here at PHLV Radio. And of course, I'm wearing Joker's shirt. I know, just said, pinakita ko lang because, he's going to be here in town August 13 and 14. I think it's sold out, so, but if not, try to check it on at the Win. So hope to see you guys there. And what else? Happy birthday to all the people who celebrating their birthday month, and of course to all the people who celebrating their anniversaries. Please be safe out there. Please, ingat lang po. And of course, sabi nga sa atin ni Conjen right here, our Consul General, previous Consul General Adelio Cruz, 10-day hotel quarantine, swab test on the 6th and the 7th day. And for those who failed to schedule and pay before arrival, they can pay for the swab test at the airport. So yan ang natin. So meron pa rin quarantine. Thank you, former Conjen Adel Cruz. Hello. And guys, thank you so much. Tomorrow we're gonna have Alam Mo Ba with Josh, and of course Saturday we're gonna have Kuya Josh and Ate Jen Stewie. Thank you guys. Maraming salamat po. Thank you, Kuya Yo. Be good. Golden rules. Pakabait ka na, Kuya Brian. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you.
This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.